Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about algorithm and flowchart. We need algorithm and flowchart to decide the flow of program. In order to know what is algorithm and flowchart, first we need to know about programming. Now programming is a way to instruct the computer to perform various tasks. All the softwares that we use in our computer are the result of programming. People who create the softwares that we use in the computers are known as programmers, and they write a certain program, certain set of instructions to create the software that we use in the computer. So writing a program involves certain steps. We can see the steps here. First is to understand and to analyze the problem. What is the task that we want to achieve by creating a software? First we need to understand the task, then we need to analyze the task. Second is planning and developing the methods of problem. Means in the second phase we will think about how to solve the problem, what are the steps, and in which way we are going to solve the problem and achieve the required output. And the third one is, once we have figured out the plans to achieve our goal and the plans to solve the problem at hand, then we need to start writing the instructions stepwise. Once we have written the instructions stepwise, then we will start building an algorithm and flowchart. So writing the steps in a sequential order to solve any logical or mathematical problem is called algorithm. Algorithm is a finite set of instructions written in sequential order to solve any problem. It is written in simple language and in simple manner. And the pictorial representation of the algorithm is called flowchart. So once you have created algorithm, then to represent it pictorially, that is called a flowchart. So there are some rules for flowchart, and as you can see, the first rule of flowcharting is a flowchart usually drawn and read from top to bottom. So once we start drawing a flowchart, we should have to start it from the top and then we have to move towards the bottom. There should be one start box and one stop box in the flowchart. Only one flow line should be used to join two symbols in a flowchart to indicate the flow, in arrow and out arrow. Only one arrow can go in and one can come out from each box except decision box. Decision box has two out arrows to show the flow in both the cases if condition is true or false. Flow lines should not cross each other. Connectors are used to connect two distant parts of a flowchart to make a loop for repeating a task or to skip some instructions in a particular case. The last one is, always we need to draw a neat and clean flowchart so that it is easy to follow. Now let us look into some of the symbols that we use in flowcharting. So the first symbol that we must use in a flowchart is the start-stop box. This symbol must be used at the beginning and at the end of a flowchart. Second we can see is the input-output box. Now this box indicates what is the input, what are the values we are taking, and what is the output, what is the result that we are going to display. Third you can see is process box. This is a box where we indicate the type of calculations that we are doing. Calculations like arithmetic operations, assignments, assigning a value to any variable, and other processing activities. The fourth that we can see is the decision box. It leads us to two different paths depending on whether the condition is true or false. If the condition is true, then it will lead me to a different path. If the condition is false, then it will lead me to a different path. Next we can see is flow lines. Flow lines show the flow of logic in a flowchart. That means it shows which step is occurring after which one. And connectors, if your flowchart is too big, then with the help of the connector, we can connect one flowchart to the other, making both of those flowcharts with the help of the connector a single flowchart. Now let us see an example of how to write an algorithm. So you can see in this example, it's a very simple example. Here we need to write an algorithm for the problem, and what is the problem at hand? The problem at hand is to write and send a letter. So what are the steps we need to follow in order to write and send a letter? So the first step is take a pen. Second step, take a paper. Third, write the letter. Fourth, fold the paper and put it in envelope. Fifth, close the envelope. Sixth, write the address. Seventh, apply glue and paste to the stamp. Eighth, go to the post box. And ninth, drop the envelope. Now let us see another mathematical problem. Write an algorithm for the problem to calculate the product of three numbers. So first step, we need to take the three numbers A, B and C, input. Then number 2, we need to multiply the three numbers A, B and C. and then we need to store the result of the multiplication of all those three numbers in another variable called p. And the third step and the last step is display the value of p, which is the output. Now let us see an example for the flowchart where we will draw the flowchart for the problem to add two numbers. So in order to add two numbers, what will the algorithm? Try to write the algorithm on your own. So the algorithm will go as follows. First, we need to take two numbers. Then we need to add the two numbers and store it in another variable, say c. And at last, we need to display the result of the calculation. This is a flowchart to add two numbers. First, we need to start with the start or stop box, where inside we will write the start. Then the input or output box. Here I am taking two numbers, a and b, and we have put the value for the c initially as 0. And third, we have added both the numbers a and b, and we have kept it in the variable c. Then we will print the value of c. C holds the result of a plus b, and once we have displayed the value, then we will stop the program. So at last, we need to put the stop box. Inside, we will write the command stop. Now we will see another example of a flowchart for the question to calculate a simple interest. Here we will be using the decision box. So as usual, all the flowcharts should start with the start or stop box. So initially we have start the flowchart. Then we are taking three values, P, R and T. P for principal amount, R for rate of interest, T for time. Then we have initially assigned a value 0 to the simple interest. Then to calculate the simple interest, we need to use the formula P into R into T divided by 100. Whatever is the result of the product of principal amount, rate and time when divided by 100 gives the simple interest. Once we have calculated the simple interest, then we will go to the next step, and the next step is to display the simple interest. Once we have displayed the simple interest, then the program will ask, is there more simple interest calculation? Means, do you want to calculate more simple interest? If you want to calculate more simple interest, and if you select yes, then the flowchart, as you can see here, will take you back again to the top, where again it will ask for another three values for principal amount, rate and time. Once again, the simple interest will be calculated. Then the result will be displayed. Again, you will be asked, do you want to calculate more simple interest? So if you have more simple interest and if you select yes, you will be taken to the beginning of the program. That is, it will continue until unless you don't complete all your simple interest calculations for different numbers. And once your simple interest calculation is over and you have chosen no, then you can see it will take you to the last step, and that is stop. That means the program will stop and you will come out of the program. Thank you.